Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Leo, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for Capricorn season, which runs from December 2025 to January 2026. I hope you are well. I'm using the 777 Tarot for you today. Here it is. There you go. It's absolutely stunning. I bought it on Christmas Eve and yeah, I'm completely obsessed with it. Anyway, before the reading begins, if it resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That is via the links in the description box below. You're looking for the link that takes you to Selfie if you just want one off, the extended for Leo, and that's it. Or alternatively, you can come join my private community, which is the Order of the Phoenix over on the Circle platform. There you can get access to all of the extended content for no extra cost beyond the membership fee, which isn't just all the extendeds for all of the signs. It is also weekly energy readings and deck walkthroughs and all sorts of things. And if you join at the higher tier, then you can come participate in the live classes that we run over there a couple of times a month and get access to the all of the recordings of previous classes that we've done. So if that sounds of interest to you, you should know that I am currently offering a 7-day free trial. So come have a look, see if it's for you. If it's not for you, then no problem. If it is, stay. I think it's pretty awesome myself, but I know I'm biased. Come check it out for yourself. Anywho, Leo. So we're going to pull some cards. But over here where we would usually do the recent past, which is to say sort of the last six weeks or so, this has been functioning a little bit more like a retrospective over 2025. So we're going to pull 3 cards for each position. This is just happening for this set of readings. It's not, we'll default to our usual from here on out. But I think it's quite useful to see what the fuck 2025 was actually about, because I think some of us are still very much unpacking it, and here we are in 2026 already. So let's have a look and see. Tell me about 2025 for Leo, please. Well, we have the Queen of Pentacles there. What else do we have? Oh, goodness, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And we have the 3 of Wands, which is interesting. It's shown up sideways, so we're going to leave it like that. Tell me about current energy, please, for Leo. What does Leo need to know? Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords. Wonderful. I like that. We have the 5 of Pentacles reversed. Amazing. And, 3 of Swords and the King of Cups. All right, more than I wanted, but okay. And what about the rest of Capricorn season? What's that in store for Leo, please? We've got a reversal. It is the Knight of Swords. And the 4 of Swords. And the 2 of Pentacles. We have the 8 of Cups at the bottom of the deck, acting as a shadow card for the entire period, which is, I realise, an entire year, but who's to say that an 8 of Cups moment needs to happen over the course of a week, right? It's been very much the theme of 2025, and it continues, in fact, into 2026. So we have the Queen of Pentacles here, Wheel of Fortune, and the 3 of Wands. And I really, really like this, Leo. I have to say, 2025 is probably up there in terms of years I don't really want to repeat. Thank you very much. And I'm sure you probably all feel the same, or certainly you early degree Leos who are finding your placements being opposed by Aquarius. It's kind of a lot, right? Is it going to stop being a lot? No, I actually don't think it is. But that's okay, because, we're Leos, we can handle all this, she says. Anyway, I love this combination here, because for me, it seems to suggest that the board is being set, the board is being laid, has been laid, for things that happened this year for you, right? The fact that the 3 of Wands is on its side is, and this, the meaning of this is actually borne out by the Wheel of Fortune being there as well. The sense that we can't see quite the extent to which things have changed and did change over 2025, and more importantly, where those changes were taking us, is a strong theme for what we see here. You know, the Wheel of Fortune came up quite a bit a few months ago. I forget when it was it August, September sort of time. And I remember saying there, you know, we're accustomed to certain periods of time within years being highly karmic. I'm thinking about, you know, eclipse season and stuff like that. Excuse me. In any given normal year, you know, these are highly karmic times. We've got a couple of weeks, 4 weeks maybe, two ends of the year. But what really struck me about 2024, 2025, fuck, I'll catch up with where I actually am, right, 2025, was that there was no sense of that turning on and off like we would usually expect. It felt like everything was important, and every sticky thing, every frustrating thing, everything was an important stitch in the creation of a tapestry that we won't really get to properly perceive for a while yet. And by a while, I mean, I really do think that we're looking at the latter half of the year for Leos to start to make sense of what has changed. Now, to some extent, we can say that, you know, as I have just done now, like I got through 2025, thank fuck. I don't really understand what it was about. I don't really understand why I had to feel the things that I did or experience the things that I did. But I recognise that something shifted in the wake of that. Can we put words to it? We can try. But I don't think it's necessarily something that can be truly articulated. It is something that can be felt only. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. But this Queen of Pentacles here is about a shifting of priorities, right? Starting to see what is important versus what we thought was important before. And I don't think that those things are the same. I think we went into 2025 with one idea of what we expected or wanted from the year, and we've come into 2026 maybe looking a little bit tatty. I certainly feel like I'm looking a little bit tatty energetically and whatnot. But I have to say, the things that seemed cripplingly important to me last year just barely fucking registering now. And the things that I was worried about last year sloughed off, entirely sloughed off. Now, does that mean that I expect to live a charmed life from this point forth? Absolutely fucking not. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Nevertheless, there is a sense, and this only really started to coalesce towards the end of the year, that whatever comes along, it's okay. I'm going to be able to deal with it. Don't expect things to be easy. I'm expecting them actually to be exceedingly hard. But everything that happened last year was important. Everything that happened was a step closer to a bigger picture that at some point, and possibly by the end of this year, maybe coming into 2027, we will have a greater sense of what that was all about. But for now, it was simply enough that we recognise that priorities have shifted. Now let's get some clarifiers out and see what's going on here. This Three of Wands, what do we have here? Ace of Swords showing up again. We also have the Empress. This Three of Wands on its side. Yeah, thank you, touche. Is generally a card of a conscious movement. It follows on from the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands is that internal state of weighing one path up over another. It's like we recognise we're at a crossroads and we're like, oh, okay, I've got to make a decision now. Once we've made that decision, then we follow the energy of the Three of Wands, right? It is the expression of the Three of Wands, in fact. Like, we're moving forwards, we're committed to our path, this is what we're doing. But the fact that it's shown up on its side means that it almost feels to me like the conscious element of that has been missing from the path that we are walking now. Like, we're definitely walking, we're definitely doing something, and we're definitely engaged with this idea, I feel, as Leos, that whatever happens next is probably quite important. Whatever's happened already is probably quite important. But the only thing that we can really lock on is the fact that the priorities have shifted, the priorities have changed. Now, you know, whether this is a nod to the energy of Aries, that is, quite frankly, the dominant signature of the year, and probably more specifically Mars, actually, because there are lots of Mars types things that are not happening in the sign of Aries this year. Kind of clearing a space so that when the opportunities present themselves, we say yes instead of no, or whatever has to drop to be gone. Like, we're kind of good with that. I don't know, but the sense of walking a path without knowing where it's going, with a new set of priorities, a new set of non-negotiable value positions, I would say. And I think that's important because that will be tested more and more over the course of 2026. Like, can you stand up for what you believe in? Right? There's two sides to that. The first is, can you stand up? Can you be brave? Can you demonstrate that level of bravery to do that? And the second thing is, like, what do you believe in? What do you think has value? Things like your identity, your belief systems, the way that you see the world, Leo, like, everything's been overhauled in this last year. And it feels like it happened quite spontaneously. It's not to say fast, because I don't think any part of it was fast, but it did happen quite spontaneously. And what does this give us? Well, it's given us a sense of clarity, if only within the space of, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. I'm very clear about the fact that I have no idea what is going on. I have no idea what I've experienced. I have no idea what I've been through, but I know that I do know what has changed. Now, the fact that we've got the Empress interleaved here feels to me that there's a lot more to be said about value and the importance that we place on things, on tradition, on nurturing, on creativity, on the things that are right, the things that we're grateful for. We're kind of clear around those, but what does it mean moving forwards? We don't know. We're clear around those. What does it mean moving forwards? We don't know, but we do know that it is important, right? That seems to me to be the energy signature of what has happened here. And when we look at this Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck, it feels like it's us getting closer and closer to not only emotional regulation, which is a big interpretation for this card for me, but also what makes you happy. Right? What makes you feel grateful? What makes you feel abundant? What makes you happy to be alive? For those early degree Leo placement people who have felt, such as I have, for example, right, the effects of a Pluto opposition to both my Mercury and my Moon, which is what is going on at the moment and will go on for some while yet. It's not near my Sun, thankfully. Yeah, that would be too much all in one go, I think. Has been a little bit stifling. In so much as it's been about digging really deep in oneself rather than, creatively expressing outwards. But in that going deep within, and even if you're not an early degree Leo, if your placement it is slightly later, still by house that opposition is happening. Pluto's saying nothing but what is strongest at the deepest part of you will suffice moving forwards. Now, what about everything else? Well, to all intents and purposes, at the point that we arrive at now is that's kind of extraneous information. We don't actually need it to move forwards. We managed to get through the whole of 2025 without realising where we were fucking going. We've achieved a clarity. We've achieved some level of what is important, right? The Empress represents the sign of the planet Venus, right? Which at its core, it's not just about relationships. It's deeper than that. It is about values and what we value. Queen of Pentacles is singing from the same hymn sheet here. But the Two of Swords and the Three of Wands are saying, well, nothing else at this point is available for me to work with. everything's very uncertain. What can I lean into that feels right for me, right? And it's probably things that are highly creative, but it is very, it's you and your immediate environment, Leo. That's what I feel the importance is in at the moment for you. You know, so if you happen to be a parent, it's possibly you and your kids. If it, you know, perhaps if you have elderly or aging parents, it's about, you know, making the most of what time you have with them before it's time for them to shuffle off their mortal coil. You know, there's something quite now and quite sort of centered around the resources. No, I'm not just talking about material resources. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about, you know, assets and houses and things like that. I'm talking about your attention, your point of focus, your energy, your emotion, your love, right? All of these for me are resources, and they are represented by pentacles quite often. Why? Because where attention goes, energy flows, right? So whatever you are looking at, this is where your attention is going right now. And it does feel like the circle is very small with you. It is you and your significant other, you and your children, you and your parents, you know, maybe you and your siblings if you have any, maybe you and your very closest friends. But the sense of keeping the circle very, very small is really strong. But there's such a high degree of gratitude in the small things that you are experiencing right now. And what I really like about this is, even absent the kind of certainty that as a fixed sign you like to have, we're leaning into something that feels actually even more important than positivity. I'm not a big fan of positivity for positivity's sake, right? Because quite often it's simply spiritually bypassing. You know, those signs, good vibes only, just actually make me want to hack up onto my own shoes. Because they undermine stuff. They undermine your stuff. And if things feel bad, then that's a signal to work with it, not to ignore it. Anyway, that's besides the point. It feels like, although the circle is very small, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of value that you are placing on what you are experiencing right now. Even though you don't know where this is going, you don't know what it's for. It's just, it's very immediate. It's very now. And does this mean that there isn't time and space for you to spend in a wider circle? No. But I feel like you're choosing to keep it small deliberately. Because with this shifting set of priorities, this shifting values, well, I don't think they're moving around too much now. I think they're pretty much set in place now. And things feel very different now compared to this time last year. Do we want to go through it again? No. But you're managing to sit in a field of absolute uncertainty whilst solid in what matters. And I like that very much, actually. I really like that, Leo. Because it stands you in good stead for what happens for the rest of this year, right? So when we move into your current energy, we have got the Ace of Swords. Lovely. Obviously a duplication because we've already seen it once on the table. We also have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. Delicious. We have the Three of Swords and we have the King of Cups. Now, you know, these are kind of all together. I've just spread them out like this so you can actually see them. How beautiful is this deck? I swear to God. The Ace of Swords and the Three of Swords together feels really meaningful. The first thing that I feel is that these together create the Four of Swords, and I like that very much because there's something foundational about the Four of Swords, but it's a foundation of peace, it's a foundation of healing, it's a foundation of, if anything, adaptability, interestingly enough, because where the Three of Swords tends to run through our little emotional bubble and give us a cold, hard steel taste of reality, and that is by definition very uncomfortable, and we don't like that very much. The energy of the Four of Swords is about how we adjust to the new paradigm, how we adjust to this new way of thinking, this new way of feeling, this new way of being. Right? It is closer to the truth than we've been before, and that may or may not be welcome. I actually think that this is fine given what's showing up here, to be honest. But more than just this equivalence of the Four of Swords that's created by the two parts, I feel like there is a real searing insight into the benefit of your pain, Leo. Now, I know that that's a really weird thing to say, or maybe it's not that weird for some of you, right? It seems like an odd thing to say, but it kind of leans into this idea that for you to be, I don't like to use the phrase useful, right? Because it seems to be shifting the value away from what you are to what you can do. There's a way that you have of seeing the world, and it is informed by pain, Leo. It is informed by trauma. It is informed by all the things that have ever fucking hurt you, and there are considerably more of those things than you really let on to other people, right? None of which you have shied away from. I feel like 2025 possibly, but this might have started before, has just brought up a series of things for you to be triggered by, to be upset by, to feel old wounds being, agitated by. And systematically, one by one, you have dealt with them. And the thing is, this has given you this incredibly wide scope to be able to understand people around you. More than that, with this King of Cups that we see going on here, right? It feels like there are a lot of things that could have been a source of bitterness and resentment for you for a long time, right? Because it hurt me and I didn't like that. I wasn't loved, I wasn't cared for, I was neglected, people were mean, people were abusive, right? The whole gamut of everything. And rather than reliving those experiences in a way that felt emotionally crippling, like I said, you seem to have worked through systematically every single one of them. Not for any reason other than something seen can't really be unseen. And because you've been on this train for some time now, Leo, I say certainly since summer 2017, right? You've been on the I'm working on myself thing. I said autopilot is the wrong word, but maybe conditioned response is not is not too wrong for what I'm talking about here. And this makes the whole thing even more magical. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, some of you may or may not be aware that I taught kickboxing for quite a while, right? And one of the hardest things to do is get people to put their guard up when you throw a punch at them. Right? It is literally something that you have to drill over and over and over again, and you gotta stay on top of it, because the second you stop staying on top of it, people drop their guard immediately, and then you just smack them in the chops, right? It's no good for anyone. So good guard is really important. But there comes a point where it's reflexive, right? You know, whatever side there's something coming, you're there. There's a dynamic guard going on, right? That to some extent is a conditioned response. What are you responding to? Movement that you see coming towards you, right? And so it's this constant readjustment of kind of doing the thing. You seem to be having the same thing with your pain, except rather than blocking it, you're like, oh, there's some of my pain, I'm going to work with it now. Oh, there's something that really fucking hurt me. Oh, I'm going to sit and think about it. See, you know, what does it mean? I don't get a sense of you lashing out at people. I get a sense of there having been frustration, but you almost recognizing that a frustration is a tell that there's something here for you to work with. The end result of all of this here, Leo, is that you seem to have tapped into a whole higher level of emotional response. You notice here it almost looks like this disc at the back is the sun. We've got the idea of illuminated emotions, consciously understood emotions. And this to and froing that I'm seeing going on between the Ace of Swords, coming in via the King of Cups to the Three of Swords. Oh, yeah, ouch, that hurt. Okay, how can I... There's a constant readjustment of your mental and emotional state that is going on. That is happening so reflexively now, you're not even thinking about it. To some extent, like, you haven't even realised how special this is, Leo, that you're able to do this. And that Five of Pentacles in reverse is magic as fuck, because wherever we have a 5, right, we have an instability. It's halfway through the cycle, right? So it's the tipping point, it's the fulcrum. It's like things are too unstable here and we kind of crash over onto the other side. When we think about a seesaw or, you know, something like that, right? But the Five of Pentacles is about lack. It is about poverty, and that's of any sort, right? So it can be emotional poverty, spiritual poverty, you know, material poverty. It's a sense of feeling like we don't have what we need. And so from that point then, we can see the Five of Pentacles is operating somewhat like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And it's like, well, is the first level of the pyramid taken care of? Yes, well, we can move on to the next one, right? There's something reflexive, but also methodical and fastidious about the way that you are approaching every aspect of your life. It's very responsible. I love it, but it's incredibly emotionally mature, Leo. And so rather than this lack or fear of lack, because those two meanings definitely sit right in the center of the Five of Pentacles, we have a recognition that everything hinges on your ability to meet your own needs. And if you ever feel this, the chances are that you've missed something and you're going back over it. What is the lesson of the moment? What can I learn about, you know, all sorts of things. And the net result is what we're ending up with is a reversed Five of Pentacles, where we've got stabilization going on every single front. Huh. So these cards, please. Wow. Right, we've got Justice, we've got the King of Pentacles, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. Now, this Seven of Pentacles has been coming up a lot in the readings for Capricorn season. It's very interesting. It's a Taurus card, just like the King of Pentacles here, right? And I've been talking about this card in terms of the first pass and the second pass on the energies of it, right? The first pass of it is something in my environment sucks. There's something wrong. I don't feel good. I don't know what it is, quite often with the Seven of Pentacles, right? I just know that something about this situation isn't really doing it for me. He's standing here, leaning on his hoe, trying to work out what to do next, right? It's pause. It's a reflection. It's what do I do now? That's why I like this card, right? But the second pass of this is when we realise that it's not about the environment at all, but it's about how we ourselves are shifting. And so where we were previously aligned with a particular situation, now we're not. Why? Because we changed, we grew, we evolved, we matured. So we've got justice hanging out here, which sometimes we find in position 8 rather than in position 11, right? Depends on what kind of tarot cards you're using. But justice for me is about karma, which is neutral, right? It's not about karmic retribution and karmic slaps. It's like, behold simply the consequences of my actions. It's that little fucking video that was a Vine about 10 years ago. Oh no, the consequences of my actions, right? It seems like the message is in your head and it has really stuck, Leo. Well, what does this mean? It means that you are in control of what you choose to build. You're in control of what you choose to take in and what you choose not to take in, right? Everything's being run through these very wise heads of the kings here. King of Pentacles, King of Cups. There's real ownership here of your entire paradigm. And you might still be ironing out the wrinkles of everything, right? Because this is very much an ongoing process, and right, it's being run through all these filters. It's highly analytical, which is fascinating. But it's more than that. Because it takes in your attention, it takes in your emotions, it takes in your responses. It's you adjusting and shifting and amending every time so that you can take accountability and control of what you are in. Oh, fuck me. Leo, we talked about last year you needing to charge your magnet up, right? Because it was fucking depleted. It was a very necessary step, I think. Not least because a lot of Leos couldn't work out how the fuck they were getting so depleted, right? But it was just showing up and being alive was exhausting. Now, is it any less exhausting now? Possibly not. But you're here and you're doing it anyway. And what I love is the fact that this is becoming a natural process. Like you've almost conditioned yourself to look for where I can take power back in a situation. I don't have to react. I can respond. How do I respond? By checking myself. This is some fucking impressive shit. Because what does this create? This is creating internal strength. It's creating a sovereignty. It is the expression of a magnet that is charging up very, very strongly. Holy shit. Right, so let's have a look. What do we have here for the rest of Capricorn season? We have the Knight of Swords in reverse. We have the Four of Swords and we have the Two of Pentacles. Let's put them all here like this. Actually, I just want to show you this Knight of Swords here because he's got quite an aggressive look on his face. And it's a little bit like a kind of like Norse Jon Snow thing going on. Maybe older, right? Instead of babyface Jon Snow. When the Knight of Swords comes up anywhere, what we have is very fast moving information, right? We have things rocketing from bouncing around our head, or it's about communication. It's how we express what is in our head to other people. But it's fast. It's always fast. It's Gemini, right? And I sometimes talk about the mimetic quality of what the Knight of Swords represents, right? Because it is just the shifting of information from head to head to head to head as it goes, right? And sometimes that's happening inside your head, sometimes that's happening outside your head, whatever, right? But it's the transmission of information. The page discovers the things, he works out what is important through his own discernment, hands that to the knight, and the knight then rockets that to the king and the queen, respectively, to do their bit. The Knight of Swords does not analyse the information, though. And I do feel that this is part of why the Knight of Swords is showing up in the reverse. It's almost like whatever's going on in your head, Leo, it isn't necessarily time to speak yet, which is a very interesting interpretation to arrive at. But there's so much internal, movement here, internal analysis going on. Is this true? Is that true? Is that right? How can I adjust myself? All right, I'll do that. There's kind of like an internalized quality about this Knight of Swords in reverse, and it's like, don't share your plans. Don't talk too much about what you're intending to do to people. Don't even talk that much about what you are experiencing right now. Why? Because you're still very much in a healing phase, right? That foundation that we were talking about by way of this Ace of Swords and Three of Swords is still very much underway. It's still happening. There are still things to adjust. There are still things to juggle around, right? Look at that Two of Pentacles. I swear to God. But it feels like what you're working on for the rest of Capricorn season is really taking this up to the next level in terms of what you are able to balance within yourself. Let's get some clarifiers out here. It's interesting how, the thing that I've got in my head is don't let words be a replacement for action, Leo, right? Where is the action happening? It's not happening outside of you at this point. That feels really quite strong. We see this guy in repose here. He's resting. He's taking a step back, or has he been run through by swords? I mean, the pillow suggests that he's just having a nap, right? He's taking a little bit of a time out. But the overwhelming message from the cards that I've got down here seem to be suggesting it's not time to go on the offensive yet. It's not time to lift the lever on letting all of that magnetic energy out yet. There is still a very fine balancing act that's going on in terms of the information that you are working with within yourself. But also where you seem to be orienting yourself towards. Now, it's interesting that we've got this, upright, reversed going on here. And the one card that represents Leo out of all of these is this one here, Mars and Leo, and it's reversed. The two major arcana are upright. We have control of self and orientation of direction. I mean, we've got vulnerability as well with the Star card. But I don't think it's necessary for you to stand up and be seen yet, Leo. There's work that is continuing, right? And as you are continuing to work on yourself, as you are mastering yourself and working on all the things that you are balancing, right? So it seems to be feeding information to the star. Why do I say that? Because the Emperor's looking sideways. Now he's looking, in fact I'll show you how I actually want to put these cards in terms of what he seems to be having a little deeky at the naked star over there. He's like, ooh, okay, nice. But he seems to be looking over the top of the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is not the Emperor's empire. It feels like if the Emperor were to build something, it would be an order of magnitude bigger than what we see here in this Ten of Pentacles. And the fact that the Ten of Pentacles is reversed feels like a coming down of stability, a coming down of structure, a coming down of perhaps the things that we had planned before. But this is to create space for the direction that the star is orienting towards. The Emperor knows his job, the star knows her job, and everything else is just noise. Now you've got very good at screening out the noise. It started over here, but it's rippling the right way through here, and I can see how now. I can see why. Like, there's so much going on inside you. The art of mastery is not something that happens in a day, right? The rest of Capricorn season is about this continuation, Leo. It's just allow this process to see its way out to the end. There's no need to rush it. There's no need to force it, because the more effort you put in here now, the more rewards you will reap later. That's very, very clear. It's not about immediate reward. It's about being able to function in a way that feels like it is your birthright. Now, are there things to leave behind? Yes, the whole of 2025 was about that, but I would suggest that Capricorn season contains some more of those instances. And it's just a case of continuing to do what you have been doing naturally already. I would be careful. I just want to throw this in here. I just do want to advise you to be careful about what you say to people. And I don't know why that would be there. It's almost like a play your cards close to your chest. Now, I think that you're so involved in just the process of being alive and balancing what is going on that you're actually probably not spending that much time looking at anything else that's going on outside of you. You probably don't feel necessarily too inclined to speak. I'd like this Knight of Swords, please. It's like, don't let words be replacement for action. And even then, action isn't actually the thing that is needed to be done, but it's getting ready. You know, when the ace is showing up, well, when a sideways card is showing up, it's almost like it's kind of shuffling into view. We're like, okay, well, this energy is getting ready to engage. It's not here yet. Chariot. It's another card of balancing. It's another card of the internal. It's another card of the self. The more effort you can put into you now, Leo, doing the thing that you are so naturally and so reflectively doing, right, the greater the benefits in the future. And I don't think you're doing this for benefit. I think you're doing it because you can. But that's one of the things that makes you stand out. That's one of the things that makes you special. In the symmetry in the Chariot card, the implied symmetry in the Two of Pentacles, the symmetry in the Four of Swords. I wonder if the big action for you is happening, hey, it's going to be happening for everybody in February, right? But there is an eclipse in your opposite sign in Aquarius that happens in Aquarius season, obviously. I wonder if there's some sort of activation there. Because you don't need to defend yourself, and you certainly don't need to interest yourself with what is falling down, right? Because it's small. It's too small for you anyway, right? So some things have got to be taken away so that the Emperor and the Star can do their work of getting ready for the next move. Is it time for the next move yet? It is not. Ace of Wands is on its side, but it is soon. So it's almost like, don't talk at all. Well, don't act. Speak even less. And spend the time really leaning into more of what you have been doing naturally. Understand the importance of what you have been doing. You've not been treading water, Leo. It might have felt like it. It might have felt like you've not been getting anything done, but the kind of stability that you are building here does feel kind of future oriented. Like I said, you don't know where this is going, but every single bit of this has been important, and every single thing that you are doing now, the balancing, the maturation, the all of it, it's taking you somewhere. And the best thing that you can do at this moment is just to continue doing that. No sudden moves, no idle conversations, loose lips sink ships and all that kind of thing. Like, you don't talk. Don't throw yourself into anything new at the moment. There's no need, right? We just keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting to know yourself. Keep working on the piece. If you haven't taken up meditation, this would be a very, very good time to do that, because cultivating a sense of internal peace will be extremely important in 2026. It's the only place you're going to find it. But on the whole, Leo, this is actually fucking extraordinary, and I'm really impressed by what I'm seeing. So please don't feel like you're not doing enough. You're doing exactly the right amount. It's like, turn away from what all the noise is and keep doing what you're doing. I don't think I even need to tell you to do that, because you're doing it anyway, which is very interesting. There's a real internal tidy up going on here, Leo. I like it a lot. Right. I'm going to go to the extended now. If you would like to join me, you are very welcome to do so. You can do that on Selfie, you can do that on Circle. The links for both are in the description box beneath this video. If that's not your thing, that's absolutely fine. This is some good shit, Leo. I like this. Alright. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.